Hi there. Hello there. Welcome in. Hi, I am Chef Jay Tay. Happy to see all of you back. How we doing? Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you're having a good start to your week. Good first day of the week. Setting yourselves up for a good week. Lots of friendly faces in chat tonight. Hi there, Will. Welcome in, Muskeg. Hi, JK. Welcome, Soph. Hi, they. Welcome, Quinn. Usually humid. Yeah, was it like feels like it's raining but not humid? Or was it just I feel clammy and stick to everything I touch? I got a whole bunch of cans. So, if anyone's unfamiliar with tonight's plans, I got a whole bunch of cans. We're going to be voting on cans, and the cans you vote on, I have to figure out how to turn into my dinner. That is the gist of Can It Be Delicious Nights. I'm actually a little upset at myself that I don't have some sort of green or something that I can use to be healthy with all of this. Yeah, it does that when it's moist out. I don't know. I haven't been outside today. It's another like 70-degree day here, though, according to interwebs. Hi, Nan Reader. I already said hi to you, though. Ew, I keep forgetting. I'm one of these days, I'm going to remember that I can't slide that against the cutting board. Oh. Losing your power is a bit worse than being a bit clammy. Hopefully things are okay. Did it wake you up or something? Like, if I lose my power, I ain't staying up until 3 in the morning. But regardless, thank you all for joining me. Cheers. So let's just dive right in on this. We'll get started on our voting here. Let's see here. We need this, we need that. We need... How do I not have manage poll on this list? Twitch, why are you defaulting my buttons? Pick a can! Exclamation. Two-minute duration. Let's do 3. First one. Gotta make sure these are prim and proper before I show them all off. I don't know, is the one upside down? We have our first poll up there. We got a split vote between 1 and 4. We're starting out with our veg. Ooh, 4 with a decent lead now. Still a battle. We could get a late rally. No love for 2, 3, or 5, huh? Two and 5 have the most, like, yellowish metallic color to them to me. Who wins this vote? Bacon does. It's a whole 10 votes ahead. But El Capitano, welcome in. What if it's chocolate? Yeah, they're doing fat washing for all sorts of stuff these days. It started off mostly for, like, Bloody Marys. Well, it looks like number 4 has won. Let's reveal what chat didn't pick. You didn't pick organic green sweet peas. You didn't pick mushrooms and stems. Or rather, mushroom stems and pieces. Wow, that sounds even more attractive after I had to correct myself. Like, it doesn't even necessarily contain the caps, it can be just stems. Anyways, you didn't pick corn. And you didn't pick fire-roasted tomatoes. Come on, you can find me, camera, can't you? There you go. New poll. We have writing on one of these. Early lead for 3. Yeah, they can see right when I started streaming, I had a beginning goal, and one of the beginning goals of subscribers, or I forget what it was, tracking, was to make chocolate bacon on stream. No, not a big soccer person. Football to you international people. And before you blame it on us Americans why it's called soccer, you need to study rugby. So you got 2 for 5, 2 for 3, and 1 for 1. 1 for 2 as well. Got a wide vote. Five is our second winner here. Oh. That didn't stay very well covered. Get back here. Let's see, for this second round, you did not pick mixed fruit with extra cherry. You did not pick salted caramel sliced pears. You did not pick whole blueberries and syrup. And you did not pick mandarin oranges. Let's make sure the one's the right side up this time. Hey, Blake. Our third poll of the evening starting. For those who have not experienced the Can It Be Delicious night, we're running polls in chat. Chat is voting on cans. Right now we have an initial vote for 3 and 5. The cans you pick, I gotta use to make dinner. The Idaho dish, it was too much fried food. Like, gut full of oil. Oh, it was delicious. Every bit of it was amazing. It was just all fried. Almost done with our third vote here. Looking like it's going to be can number 2. Can number 2 wins this round. You didn't pick Heinz beans and tomato sauce. You didn't pick ranch style brand beans. You didn't pick the new one, which is refried red beans. And you didn't pick navy white beans. We'll find out what's in these here in a couple of minutes. Ranch Style is a rather well-known brand. Like, they're a very iconic label and style of bean, at least here in the States. If you trying to think of the name of the, but they're very well known in that sense, and they're not like a specific. They're like a brand. It's like saying Heinz beans in the UK. Now we get into the more interesting items here. We've had the beans, we've had the veg, we've had the fruit. Now we get into the extras. Let's see, can I think anything special about any... We got tabs on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are just straight can opener cans. First 3 all have tabs, pull tabs. Got 3 votes for number 1. 1 vote for 2, 1 vote for 5. I wish I could make that easier to see. I don't know why this is not showing up better on OBS. And that's even with me putting a second source in there to give it a background. Ooh, we got some last minute votes here. 2 and 5 getting another vote there. We got any last minute ties? Can number 1 gets it. Number 5 was Cajun potatoes and peppers. Number 4 was organic red enchilada sauce. Number 3 was chicken gravy. And 2 was spicy poblano queso blanco. It's a white cheese sauce. Spicy white cheese sauce. Now for the round that everyone gets excited by. And our last round of voting. Got all sorts of different sizes and shapes of cans going on here. Got an early push for number 4, which is the big can that couldn't hardly, putting this in comparison. Then you got the weird square or rectangular ones for 1 and 5. Which is sort of strange because chat usually loves the spam-like containers. Oh, you can't even see the 5 there, can you? Well, we'll move 4 off to the... I don't know. Down there. It's already been 30 minutes. You get number 4. Let's see here. You did not pick hot and spicy spam. We're in an ad right now, unfortunately, but I'll go through these. Anyways, you did not pick spam. You did not pick the unknown can. I don't even know what's in that one. You did not pick Hormel corned beef hash, and you did not pick Hereford corned beef. And we'll give it a moment here for that ad break to finish up. We'll get rid of the overlays and stream. And we'll get ourselves can opener out. Yeah. And actually, to be truthful, that was a last minute addition, because I bought another can of corned beef, of Hereford corned beef, because I didn't remember that I already had one in here. Like, I have a list keeping track of things, but I didn't pay attention to really the meat one. I just winged it. And I've done my best not to look what I have already myself. So hopefully this is somewhat of a surprise when we get to opening all of these. We can go ahead and put the cans away while... Come on, ads, finish up. Okay. That should have been the 3 minutes that we're playing. I'll turn the overlay off if it stays on after a bit. So our first can of the night we have corn, but with like reddish liquid. We have Del Monte Mexican-style street corn. Refried beans. Pumpkin. Beef gravy. that sort of throws a kink in things, because I know what's in this can. Chicken. No, not a horrible spread. I'm currently trying to think of what I can use these the pumpkin for in potentially a savory sense. There's a number of ways you can use pumpkin savory. Okay, so what am I doing with all of this? The problem with most things that I want to use the pumpkin for in a savory sense, I also have the refried beans here for. And it's sort of like double starch. And it's not going to be, it's like I got double fillings for most things, like if I wanted to do enchiladas or something like that, which I don't have tortillas to do anyways, but I can make tortillas. But regardless, and then you have the chicken and the beef gravy together, which, not the end of the world in many cases, but it sort of muddies everything up. It's not convenient. The corn just sounds good. Like, the corn can go in all sorts of things. Like, well, at least let's get some started with some onion. While I figure out what I want to do with pumpkin. Which I really don't know what I want to do with pumpkin. See if I got everything that I can do something like that. Let's see. Yep, that's what's happened. I've given up on savory options for the pumpkin. I'm gonna do some pumpkin cookies. And the rest, I'm honestly sort of thinking soup tonight. Not sold on 100% on that idea, but that's sort of what I'm... I was thinking for a moment of doing pumpkin bread with the soup. And I sort of... I don't know, shied away to that idea. I don't know why I did. I think I'm going to stick with cookies. I'm dicing up some white onion here that I apparently didn't peel very well. It's a very appealing onion. Get off of there, peel. Muffins is an idea. What kind do I use most often? I've been buying other brands recently, but I'm pretty much a diehard red onion fan. Yellow onions are okay. White onions are okay, mostly if you want to use them for fresh things, but I'm thinking of throwing them in a soup tonight. White onions are best if you're not cooking them, if you're not cooking the onion. Yellow onions are going to be tastier than a white onion if you're cooking it. I've got sweet white onions and Vidalia yellow onions right now, so I know some people might call Vidalias white onions, but they aren't very white. The white onions just tend to have a little bit less of that bite, and I doubt they do, but I think people think that they're less likely to stain your breath. If they're an onion, I think they're going to be an onion on your breath regardless of what. Yeah, soup night. Which means we can't use that pan because it's full of oil still, and I don't feel like draining it right now. Where do we start with soup? Sauteing onions, I think. What do we have otherwise here that we can use up in soup? We got some green onions. That'd be about it. No, I'm taking that back. We're not doing cookies. We're doing bread. I want something to eat with my. I want some bread to eat with my soup. Is this one of those ones where I can change things? That'll work, I think. Let's see what else we got in this recipe. Yeah, we can do that. We're gonna do milk a little bit of a quick warm up in the microwave. Let's see, is the bot doing okay with commands tonight? Make sure we didn't get too warm there. I opened the new brick of yeast. So we're using brand new yeast. Or new to me yeast, at least. Get some bread flour going here for our dries. Did I have a clip on this? Guess not. Pinch of salt. I pushed down on the eggs, and the center of it crushed enough that I was like, did I just crush an egg? Despite me knowing that downward pressure on an egg like that, especially in a container like this, would probably not do a ton. Those are now trash. Don't want to use any of those. The yolk broke on me, but I think I saved most of it. There's a little yolk in the white. It wouldn't be useful for making whipped whites at this point, but it'll be fine for doing an egg wash. Wake up, yeast. Get the yeast a little sugar to wake up too. I mean, they're in some warm milk, which can't be too bad for them, but yeast doesn't like lactose sugar. So it's not very good for waking it up. It's good for making the bread nice and soft. I guess we can add the pumpkin in with the flour or while we're waiting on the yeast. I don't like the way the top of that can looks. And I'm not using all of this can for this, so... Gonna add some honey. Sort of wish I had some like whole wheat flour for this tonight. But I haven't had whole wheat flour in the house for a minute. Alright, we're starting to get a bit foamy, so I'm going with the yeasties. I know they're nice and fresh, so it's... I still feel that allowing them to properly wake up and get going helps speed along the whole bread process, but... Should have cleaned the cutting board off before I got my hand dirty with dough. I'll clear off the cutting board so I can do some proper kneading.
Okay, this is just sticking everywhere now. Pumpkin is hydrating that flour, and it's getting stickier and stickier.
I think that's where we're going to stop with that. We're going to let that do its thing for a bit. Let it poof. I don't know if I have the guts to do that. I was gonna pose, well, let's just say that I potentially could be convinced to use the liquids in these cans. Should put the butter back away since I'm not making cookies now. But I need some butter for starting our soup. Artisanal. Salt. This pan is not cast iron, however, it is quite thick. I do like a thick pan. Hey, Splodes. I'm working with canned foods tonight. Chat voted on 5 cans. I've started work using one of them so far. We got pumpkin rolls started. We got chicken, beef gravy, refried beans, and Mexican street corn. I don't think there's any cheese or mayo in that. I think it's probably just corn and peppers, but we'll see. And so the plan here is I think I'm going to be making pumpkin dinner rolls, and the rest is going to be soup. Yeah, I didn't give myself much of the seafood options in the meat department. I probably should throw some tuna or something in there. That made me realize that I don't have pasta in the house either. Like, pasta's another thing to have that I should have in here for. I can bake pasta, but don't always want to take on that project. Especially when you're going to pair it with a whole bunch of canned food. Not that canned food, well, yeah, canned food in general is canned food. Like, they're getting better at it. There's some exciting stuff coming out with canned foods. That street corn is not your typical canned food item. The salted caramel pears that you didn't pick this week, interesting can. But it's still canned food. Like, there's a sort of, like, blandness or almost boringness that just comes with it's canned. It's sort of unfair, but it's sort of true. Hi, Alex. Welcome in. I don't know why my eyes glossed over the check-in over here. I mean, it was blatantly in chat. I look up there and it's like, oh, Alex is here. Do I still have chicken stock down here? I think I used the last of that. I don't see it. So I guess we'll just go in with the beef gravy. You gotta get all the beef gravy out of the can. Juice in the can didn't taste anything really but corn, so I threw it in there. This doesn't really stand up on its own without it, though. And that is a double starch, then. I guess we just got to stick with the plan here. I was debating here. I was like, we gotta chill here for a bit. We gotta wait for this bread to do some poofing. Because this soup is basically, I mean, I could just dump those other two in there and pretty much call it a day. We'll add some green onion, we'll add some herbage. I was sitting here thinking, that's not very impressive for using all of these cans. And I was debating what else I could do with it. I was sitting here wondering about the idea of maybe making some quick tortillas, and then I could put the chicken in the refried beans and do quick, like, taquitos or something along that line. And, I mean, I've got the fryo all ready and everything. With this, with those, and the soup, and I am torn. I think we're pretty much... How else can this work? Nah, I don't really like that. I don't know if that's gonna work. The chicken and the meat's already cooked, so we can't do like a meatball with it. I don't think those are going to work for that either. What can I use with that idea? What can I stuff these with? What can I stuff that with? What can I stuff that with? What can I stuff that with? Just none of them really work. I can't make any of it sort of work very well in my mind. I'm sitting here trying to think of ways I could turn... Like, I could add flour to the refried beans and turn them into more of like a dumpling-like material. But I don't have anything to stuff them with. No, I would be horrible at it, Splodes. I know I would be horrible at it. Between the combination of 1, anxiety, and 2, I do not do countdown time. Like, I can. I've spent most of a good portion of my life in kitchens where time counts. Like, you gotta get stuff out, stuff has to be out together, yada yada yada. 2 minutes, chef. I don't live that life anymore. That's very much what I made a choice to leave when I started streaming. And just about every competition out there on Earth is, you got to do this in 30 minutes. You got to do this in 20 minutes. No. No, thank you. I'm going to take my time and do it how the hell I want. That said, if we take the time out of this equation, I'd be a much happier camper. And actually, I've been even thinking about that. There is a thing with the Twitch Creator Club for collabing and creating contests and stuff like that. And it's the time thing. Even, because the other person, are you going to finish the same time as the other person cooking you're competing against? I don't want to bother with that. I appreciate the compliment, Splodes. I appreciate you think that I'm very versatile, which is something I strive to be. I'm very much not a specialist. Unless cooking in general is a specialty. Yeah, that's also sort of one of the things I enjoyed the most in college. Going to Culinary Institute of America, a lot of the time when we were just hanging out at home, we were cooking out at home. It's our homework in some extent, at least in AOS. Which AOS, I don't know if that really exists. I mean, the degree still exists, but what it was when I was there is not what it is now. Which is really sort of a bummer, because I really agreed with the mentality. The food business, if you're getting into the food business, you need to realize what the food business is like and how it's going to treat you as a person. And when I started in college, it wasn't a firm rule when I was there. They were already letting it start to slide. But you had to have some time put in an actual cooking kitchen before you went to the Culinary Institute. And in a place that actually made their own foods. They didn't want you working at a fast food restaurant. They wanted you actually preparing foods. Pasta? There could be some sort of pasta made out of the refried beans. But just coming together and cooking and chilling is really, and that's to some degree why I'm back here. I'm just chilling and cooking and would be happy to chill and cook with other people. Thank you for the follow. Oh no, this isn't a pasta dough. This is a pumpkin dough. I am making... Today is Can It Be Delicious, which chat voted on 5 cans out of 25 earlier in the stream, and stuck me with Mexican-style street corn, refried beans, canned chicken, canned beef gravy, and canned pumpkin. And so this is the beginnings of a pumpkin bread that I'm going to turn into rolls and bake once it poofs. Poofs. I call it poofs here. I don't call it poops. I call it poofs. Captions. We okay tonight, captions? I know you like messing my stuff up on purpose. Though technically, if you think about it, like, the yeast is putting out carbon dioxide. It is sort of... Crunchy chewy. I've never been a huge crunchy chewy fan, so I don't know that I can give you the perfect one. You can look that up online, though. People have that science down to a science of how much fat to what flour to what sugar you need in order to get that. I normally just go to Toll House or Nestle's official recipe. I mean, they're basically the same. Do I have other canned stuff that I can mix with? No. I'm still trying to think on the dumpling idea. I'm still wanting to turn, like... The beans themselves in the soup will be great. Like, they'll turn the soup into a nice creamy soup without actually having dairy for once. But I'm still like, what can I do here while we're waiting on that bread to proof? Got to keep people engaged, and I've already lost everyone. Oh, hi, Tiff Tiff. Enjoy your game. What's everyone's game du jour? What's everyone looking forward to with upcoming games? Like, there's all sorts of games that have been announced or talked about recently. You got this whole Steam demo thing going on now. I think they're trying to... Actually, I don't know what they're trying to do, because there was talk about Twitch having, like, built-in demos in the future. Like, you could just play the game through Twitch. And we've gone to an ad.
So I'm going to take a drink break.
Ooh. Thank you for the resub, Tiff Tiff. Greatly appreciate your support in this stream. I never read what my now command returned. Did it return anything at all? That was a while ago. Not horrible. It did okay. For the time. Ooh, Prime Gaming sub too. Those are the good ones.
This is the wrong knife to be using for green onions, but I'm going with it anyways because I already have it out. This is a great knife for doing regular onions with because the scallops keeps it from sticking too much on the knife when you slice through it. But it's not a great shape. Like, this is a more of a up and down intended knife than I'm rocking it right now, which is not what it's really intended to be done as. But it's easier with the green onions. And I'm going to use the greens and the whites tonight. It's very interesting how some cultures, like green onions, you'll see a mix of them in most cultures, but certain ones seem to prefer the whites or the greens. Like here in the States, you see mostly the greens used, and mostly used as like a garnish on things. Whereas Asian cultures, you'll see a lot more of the whites used, and them used in all sorts of foods as like a regular vegetable. I did not turn the heat off back here, it turned it down though. Yep, there's still a flame underneath there. I just didn't want to boil it to death. I guess we can do some garlic in with this. We can do... Let's see, we're gonna have that, and that. I do have tomatillo salsa. I do have pickled jalapenos. This all could be a party in that pot. You hear me, chat? It's not a soup, it's a party pot. Not only have the hummingbirds returned to the feeder after filling it last night, or the night before that, they're now back to fighting over it. Which I don't know if they're actually fighting over it, or if it's like females go there and the males pester the females because they're found there, or what the dynamic there is, but there are certainly ones that get to the feeder and then are immediately dive bombed by others. And wormhole? Well, I hope you're doing okay there, Jazzy. Welcome, man. We have Can It Be Delicious here tonight. I've been challenged, sort of, by chat, to make dinner out of 5 different cans that they voted on earlier. So we've got canned chicken, refried beans, pumpkin that I'm turning into pumpkin dinner rolls, and in the pot already, we have beef gravy, onions, and Mexican street corn. The onion I just chopped up, but the beef gravy was one of the cans chat voted on, and the corn was one of the challenges. I think this is gonna just be indiscriminate Mexican soup tonight with the pumpkin bread. I'm debating if I do the tomatillo in there too. If I do throw the salsa in there, it's gonna be last thing, or maybe even a garnish. You could do it as a garnish. That sounds like a decent. I'm gonna throw some pickled jalapenos into that party too. Went with the hot ones this time. No sweet pickled jalapenos. We got the hot thing. Let's give these a quick chop. These are a bit, like, they obviously fit on the spoon, but they're a bit big. Welcome, Mimic. Let's do one more spoon of those. So we'll throw the jalapenos in the soup. So if the Mexican street corn wasn't spicy to begin with, and the liquid that was in it wasn't that spicy because I tried it, we definitely got some spice in there now. What do you do? Oh, this is dairy. Okay. My bread hasn't poofed. It's not doing anything, chat. Hold it over the steam of the soup. Hopefully the warmth will help it out a little bit. Let's see here. What's going on in the world? I've ran out of random things to talk about tonight. Has anyone read about that B-52 that went down? If they're using if that was one of the ones using or testing the new engines they're planning for those? Or was it one of the old ones? Well, they're all old, but they're planning upgrades. I would suspect if there was a problem with the engines, it was in their implementation. Because the engines they're replacing them with are like widely used ones in private jets already. Nope. Anything in food. New ice cream chain in Illinois. Rita's got a new form of Italian ice. New dumpling spot at Tacoma Mall. Shows us how to make her beloved blackberry Gouda skewers. There's some recipes that I'm just not sure should be recipes. If you're just putting cheese and fruit on a skewer,
Let's see. United Airlines is planning on upgrading their food. By upgrading, I mean probably making cheaper, but with trendier names. Probably to the ER. What? Oh, wow, this newspaper is horrible with ads. That's a horrible article. I don't know why I clicked on it. Let's see. The rest of this all seemed like I was talking before about ice cream dying, and now my feed is like nothing but like new ice cream shops starting up. Like it seems like while big ice cream isn't a major consolidation, there seems to be a little bit of a boom of the new upstart ice cream chains. Which ooh, we have a princess cake boom. So it's not just the sprinkle cake or whatever that is. Yeah, it looks like a donut. They're calling a cake. Alright, I'm tired of waiting for dough to do its thing, so we're gonna break this down a bit more. Do I still have this set up for that? Yeah. So we're balling. I just realized I don't have a smaller one. I quickly did this on stream the other day and didn't add. We need to move you to the front. make it small. That way you can see what I'm doing. I hope that's just my earbud conking out. Yep. Earbud just, I don't know what it's going with it, but every once in a while it just decides to start getting really quiet, and I only can very faintly hear my monitor in my ear now when I'm talking. I can't hear the music at all anymore. I can't hear until I fuss with it in my ear again. I'm not gonna egg wash those. Not yet. I started preheating the oven a little bit. We're gonna throw these in there. A warm oven to start them doing a bit more proofing after they've been balled up. We're going to give those 10 minutes in the oven like that. We'll set the timer even. And then we'll bring the oven up. We'll pull them out of the oven. We'll bring the oven up to bake temp. We'll egg wash them, and we'll throw them back in the oven. Wow, that looks so much dirtier on screen than it doesn't, like... You can still sort of see the streaks, but it looks like dirt on stream when it's just like the alcohol drying. Wow. Strange how some of that stuff, like, when I first started streaming, I had one of my pans sort of messed up. Like, it was full of, I forget what. It was either residual from cooking bread in it or eggs or something. Like, it left a film on the bottom of it, and I hadn't properly cleaned it. It was the first couple of streams I started streaming. And people were telling me my pans were uncured, and you needed to re-cure that pan. And I'm like, the pan's fine, it's just a little dirty. It's strange how things come across on stream that aren't that way. I mean, actually, let's take another quick look back at that scene. See, now it looks like it's just drying. Makes me look fatter. Makes my hair look like it's falling out. Yeah, I mean, those things both are true, but it makes them worse.
Going back, scanning things here. James Beard Awards are tonight. Probably going on right now. All the Texas barbecue joints are closing because of the price of beef. You barely need more than a can of soda to make the best pulled pork of your life. Dr. Pepper pulled pork, huh? Let's see if that's actually the only ingredients here. Oh, no, they'd be lying. We got pork shoulder, salt, pepper, onion, garlic, chipotle peppers, soy sauce, liquid smoke, and a can of Dr. Pepper. That's probably not bad. I don't remember if I've done Dr. Pepper ribs. I know Dr. Pepper ribs are a big thing. I've done Mountain Dew ribs before, and those are good. Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's not uncommon. Like, brisket is their pull. Like, I'll talk about this more in the sense of steakhouses because that's more the traditional experience, but it works for barbecue joints too. You know, you have your famous T-bone or your ribeye or your steak that you're known for, and you get the people, and that is your pull into the restaurant. That's what gets you that table of people sitting at your restaurant. And so you sell that steak basically at cost, or in times like this, at a loss. So that you get that table of people there eating. And so that you have that steak that's there almost at cost. But even at that cost of steak, the chicken dish that the wife orders or the kid orders, and the salmon dish that someone else orders, all have higher price points because you have that steak on the menu, even at a cheaper price. And so they make more money off of the other people at the table by raising the overall price of the menu and having those key expensive items. That's what brisket is for a lot of barbecue places. It's their loss leader. You can talk about it in supermarkets too. That's an also class, like the price of milk and eggs and other things. You know, typically you look in your city, one supermarket's the leader at eggs and one's at milk, and that's where you get the cheapest chicken. And unless you want to go to 20 places, they get you there for that thing, and then you buy everything else there. And I think the beef thing is just going to get worse, which, like, the people that have major barbecue joints and shutting down are probably, like, unless they're all-star places, are probably making the smart move. Just pack up for 5 years. Because beef will be back, I'm pretty certain, but the prices are going to be pretty, like, we probably got at least a year or two of ridiculous prices between the cyclical issues in beef, the fly issue that's now a new thing, yada yada.
Alright, so we got our rolls that have been chilling in the warm oven. We're now going to turn the oven on and get that up to 400 to bake these. That 2-cycle, Ruby. Welcome in. What are we making? Tonight is Can It Be Delicious, which is a stream I do once a month around the 15th. I have 25 different cans over there just off screen, and chat voted for 5 cans out of the 25, and so I am having to make dinner from those 5 cans. 2 of them are still sitting here on the cutting board. We've got canned chicken, refried beans. We have pumpkin that I'm turning into pumpkin dinner rolls. And then over on the stove, we have the other 2 cans, along with some other things. We have onion that I diced up and threw in there with some garlic powder. We have pickled jalapenos that I threw in there. There is Mexican-style street corn from, I think it was Del Monte. It was basically street corn with a little bit of sweet pepper in there. It wasn't like with mayo or with cheese or anything like elote style. And then there's also beef gravy in there. So we have canned chicken and beef gravy going together. I'm going to turn that into a soup. I was sitting here for the longest time trying to figure out how I can use those refried beans in some other form. And I've sort of given up on that at this point. I was debating like dumplings and other things, making that out of these. I think I'm just going to turn the soup into sort of a creamy bean soup along with the chicken and the beef and the corn. We're going to garnish it with, I have some tomatillo salsa in the fridge and green onions to finish. So we'll have some nice fresh bread with a sort of Mexican style soup. What are frijoles? I don't know, my Spanish memory is failing me. That's a very common term, though, that I should be able to remember. Yeah. It also does another cool thing for me here at home. I cook here at home regularly. I cook on Twitch 4 nights a week, and so I'm constantly rotating stuff in my home. I don't have a huge canned food pantry, and I do want to keep canned foods around for odd emergency, odd random thing. And so this not only allows me to have canned foods in the house, it means that I'm using a couple of them every month and hopefully keeping them somewhat fresh. I mean, I don't have a giant storage. I'm not a prepper, as you might say, but I wanted to have a little bit around here, in case power goes out, that sort of thing. I actually had 2 cans of refried beans in there, so it was sort of a pretty high percentage that refried beans were going to be there. There was a pretty high percentage that it was either refried beans and or corned beef in tonight's. And we didn't get the corned beef, but we got the refried beans. We got the boring refried beans, though. I want to try out the other ones. I bought them specifically because they were like, oh, I wonder what those are like.
The other can that wasn't picked tonight of refried beans is refried red beans. And I don't know if that means they're going to be somewhat sweet. Because, I mean, I'm not going to call them, not like dessert sweet, but like red beans can be on the sweeter side of a savory product. What, is moisturize not active? We had wash hands earlier. Moisturize is there. I just stopped calling it hydrate here. I thought we could be more. We could do more. You know, like maybe y'all have some hand cream at your desk. Let's see. Can we put that? New poll. Unagi. I would say that that's a Japanese term for something that I can't remember, but I've heard of. Here, I'll quick look it up for you. Japanese word for freshwater eel. I've had that before. That's not cheap. That's pricey stuff. I had that. I think I had that as an ingredient challenge at one point. I've definitely worked with it on stream. Let's see how our ingredient challenge is doing. The vote for our ingredient challenge next week's going. It's looking like Dino Nuggets are gonna get it.
Got 7 votes for Dino Chicken Nuggets versus 4 for green chilies, even though that's very clearly a gif of a jalapeno. Alex showed another photo of some tacos with homemade kale, homegrown kale. Tofu tacos. Thank you for the link, Soph. Beats you where you go to buy eel? For me here, it would be, actually I haven't checked in a long time if she's still doing things. I would assume that she's still doing things. They're sort of like a single family that's like the seafood family of Sonoma County. You have the brother that runs Santa Rosa Seafood, and you have the sister that runs, I'm spacing on, is it Mary's? Is it the Petaluma one? And I'd go to the Petaluma one over the Santa Rosa one. I would think both of those here in Sonoma would have it. Outside of Sonoma, I have no clue. Though it is probably something a little bit easier to find as far as specialty fish is concerned. But at the same time, it's going to be not as easy as, some salmon. Like, you're not going to find it at a Safeway, I don't think. And also, that type of eel in particular is typically pre-cooked, barbecued, potentially dried, or at least, it's got flavoring on it. It's not just straight eel in the way it's typically sold. Smoked, maybe. I'm forgetting exactly how it's prepared, but it's like cooked, ready-to-eat product that you then can reheat or... Okay, our oven's up at 400. I think it's time to put some egg wash on our pumpkin rolls. And I'm just going to use the brush to whip up these egg whites a little bit. I say egg whites, but it's a single egg white, so... Alright, rolls are going in the oven. They have obviously poofed a little bit since they're now touching each other in some cases. .400-degree oven. We'll set a timer for 20 minutes there. I think it's time we start adding some other things into the soup. I guess using the chicken juice was a hit. No. I went to the Culinary Institute of America in New York before going, after going to a smaller school for culinary, and have been out of college a long time at this point. Alright, so we got our refried beans in there. I am going to add another can of liquid in with that. We're going to turn the heat back up a bit. Allow that to melt the beans down a bit, or at least loosen them up. Oh, mini. Graduated with one, maybe two, depending on your definition. But just being at the CIA, I met several coming in there. I mean, they all came in there and did book signings at the bookstore, that sort of a thing. I met Bourdain on multiple occasions. Bourdain. Bourdain, Keller. Less so Ferran and Alinea Chef, but I've read a lot of the books and was reading and was in school and college when El Bulli was like the thing. And so I read through all that books. That was what was in at that time. I've never really worked many places that did. I've worked maybe one place that did that sort of cuisine, but I have never really worked heavily. Well, two places maybe. Yeah, the CIA has the FBI too. We're the Culinary Institute of America, and then the Culinary Institute of America has the Food and Beverage Institute video series. Nice, explodes. When you grow it, it always tastes great. Well, that's not true, but it does tend to... The work that you put into it does increase the flavor. But other famous chefs, like when I was at school, we also went, like, it's the Culinary Institute of America. There's a campus here in California that's now relatively a full-blown campus. It wasn't really when I was there, when I was attending. New York was the place to go if you're going to the Culinary Institute. Now they've got Singapore, San Antonio, and Napa. And so New York was right there it was just a train ride away. And so we went to several places when I was in New York. I went to one of Mario Batali's restaurants with my parents. I went to, I can't remember his name ever, but one of the very famous Mexican chefs, food TV famous Mexican chefs, not the one in Chicago. We're talking New York. Regardless, went to his restaurant, which is a absolutely typical New York restaurant where their kitchen putting out full restaurant, smaller than my kitchen cutting off the table here. Like, there is maybe room for 2 to 3 people in that kitchen, and that's sort of like a New York kitchen. Like, I don't think they had a basement or an upstairs like many of them do. Many of them have their kitchens on a completely different floor from their dining floor. It's quite ridiculous living in a city like New York that's that packed, and I'm sure it's that way in many other big cities, but went there and ate out of his small little kitchen, eating his mom's food. His mom was there, and eating, he gave us the one dish that I remember we ate a full, it was a group of students that were there eating, and so we had basically everything they were making there, but the one that sticks out in my mind that we tried when there was the quiocote quesadillas. So the corn fungus or corn smut fungus being made into quesadillas, and that was sort of like, I'd heard of it and known of corn smut before that, but that was my first like experience eating it and trying it that I remember. He's not in New York anymore, is he, though? It's not Rick Bayless. Nope, none of those are names that I know. This is driving me nuts. I can't find his name. It's driving me insane. Why can't I remember this? Aaron Sanchez. There we go. Aaron Sanchez was the chef who I went to in New York. He's since moved out of New York, but he was there when I was there. Oh, and we went to ads during. Oops. I'm sure I lost everyone sitting here searching for that name. He was on a lot of food TV stuff. He's been a guest chef on all sorts of stuff. I don't think he does nearly as much as that these days, but then you can talk chefs in the other regard, like Michelin level chefs, which I have most certainly met and cooked for. I have not cooked in Michelin kitchens. Don't take that as me cooking in Michelin kitchens, but I have worked for Michelin chefs. And I know them, and I graduated with a couple of them. I've also graduated with someone who runs a pretty successful chain of places that he started. Well, him and a lot of financial backing started. And I doubt he probably would have made it through a lot of that without his financial backing, but he has made it. But even locally here, I haven't cared or done anything to work with Guy Fieri. I could have worked with Guy Fieri doing things here in Sonoma. He lives in Sonoma. But I haven't worked for her. I had a chance to, but I know Dusky Estes here in Sonoma. I haven't worked or talked with her in years at this point, but she's another one of those used to be constantly on like Chopped and other food TV shows. Does a lot of Guy Fieri shows and stuff like that because right here in Sonoma. I haven't watched a whole lot of like their. I don't even know Guy Fieri's name of it. Like his version of like Supermarket Sweep. They actually built that grocery store in Sonoma, and so I assume Dusky's in a fair number of those too, because local person, The View. Yeah. Okay, this still needs more liquid to it. So I'm adding more water in here with this. Those refried beans are still trying to be refried beans. So we'll add another cup of water in there. And it's down to the last 6 minutes here, so we'll throw everything in here. I'll throw in the chicken juice. And we'll just give that a stir. I'm not going to try and break up the chicken. And we'll take a pinch of the greener part, even though these are pretty yellowish as far as green onions go. And add the rest in. Actually, that's looking greener than this, so we'll do that. What should I call this soup? What would you call this soup? A Stony Soprano sandwich? Not too far off of a... That's in the ballpark of a fair other. Not a decent sounding sub. I'd more... Like, I'd still want to take that more in a muffaletta direction and add some actual olives into that party. But that sounds like a party. Still got another 3.5 on the rolls for their first check. Yeah, I think that's going to be great once we get that pulled up, throw a little salsa in that to garnish. What did I do with my spoon? I need my soup spoon. Get back here, soup spoon. Let's see what we need to sort of season in our spices, or if this is just damn delicious. Green onions need to cook more. Nice heat from that. Refried beans a little overpowering. Surprisingly, I can slightly taste both the beef and the chicken in that. Look at our rolls here.
Those look like rolls. We have some pretty looking rolls there. Great color on those. Almost look like little mini pumpkins. Just need little stems for them. Had I thought about it, I could have even made the like creases in them. Get ourselves some soup plated up here. And tomatillo, roasted tomatillo salsa. These things are soft. Like, really soft. Beautiful color at the bottom. Clean knife. So yeah, we got some soup. I just messed up the garnish. Soup is mighty tasty all by itself here. This is not a tasting like it's all canned. Yeah. Yeah. This dinner is going to be delicious. Let's see how these look. I've been hedging on even trying to break into one of these. But we got a nice cooked through pumpkin roll there. Nice and steamy. Rolls took and didn't. Their initial proof didn't proof very well to begin with, and I think they turned out pretty well from where they were when I first started shaping them. Happy with the way they turned out. Was worried about them all the way along, is basically what I'm saying. Soup, I knew was going to be great. I just worried that it was maybe a little too... Like, I was trying to think of other things that I could sort of work in to make it a little bit more complex of a dinner. And I was just stuck with beans and pumpkin. Like, we got the bread, and then I was thinking, like, taquitos, and that's sort of like more bread. It was sort of like they're the same either way. So, very happy with how this turned out in the end. I was a little worried about it at the beginning. But as far as things go, it was a decent challenge. Like, the beef and the chicken combo, the pumpkin and the refried beans. Yeah. So let's figure out what we got here for a vote for Wednesday. Because it's Monday, we have to close that vote that I was talking about earlier. It looks like Dino Chicken Nuggets have won for Wednesday. And so Wednesday, we'll have Dino Chicken Nuggets for dinner and dessert somehow. You devilish people making me put chicken in dessert. It's not the first time, and I know it's not going to be the last. So Wednesday we have dinosaur chicken. We've got ribeye steak on Friday, because I have ribeye steaks galore in the house right now. We might as well have some ribeye steak. And Sunday we got Illinois. And so if you have any ideas or suggestions for what I should be doing on Sunday to represent the great state of Illinois. I don't know, are we doing hot dogs? Are we doing subs of some sort? Are we forgetting Chicago exists and going elsewhere in the state? Let me know what you think. I've got a tentative schedule for Saturday for a cutting glass stream. Going to be starting in on my first stained glass project on stream. And on Monday, next week today, I'm going to be doing deconstructed soup and sandwich
which was a theme suggested by Skeletarin. My plans for that are already in the calendar, so if you would like to see what I'm planning for that, that is there. I don't have plans for Illinois yet. I don't have plans for what I'm going to be eating with my ribeye steak. So if you have suggestions for those, please, in the Discord, hang out with us. I wish you all a wonderful week. I wish you the best week. I wish you get all your stuff done so you have a wonderful weekend. I wish you all have a wonderful evening. Let's see if there's anyone out here on Twitch tonight. I shall leave it right there, folks. I wish you a wonderful evening. Have a great night. Good night.